Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. Today we're looking at the recently released Helikon-Tex Yukon Winter Jacket. Now for me, this kind of addresses something, especially around jackets. So when it comes to something like a 3-layer system, it's very common that you'll have your base layer, you'll have a mid layer which will be an insulation layer, and then you'll have an outer layer which will be the tougher and often a waterproof layer. So for a long time, for me, the perfect balance has been being able to wear pretty much whatever I want underneath. And then I will generally tend to go to something like the Helikon-Tex Wolfhound jacket or the Wolfhound hoodie, which has been my staple for the last 2-3 years. And then over the top of that, depending on whether it needs to be a bit dry, whether it needs to be a bit, maybe I'm doing some bushwhacking, that sort of stuff, it needs to be something that's a little bit tough. Now I saw this for the first time at the beginning of 2024 at IWA, and for me it addresses both of those because, and I weirdly, as so happens, been talking to a few people recently and they've been asking about the Wolfhound jacket or the Wolfhound hoodie, about just how tough it is. Can you go bushwhacking? Can you play airsoft in it? Can you do stuff that you need to really not worry about the outer layer? This takes what would traditionally have been that insulation layer with the Wolfhound and an outer layer. From Helikon-Tex it would be the SAS smock, or it would be something like the Woodsman anorak, and just combines the two of them together. So that's what we're here today to have a look at. Now before I start, as I usually do, just a little bit about me. So I'm 5'10", I have a 46-inch chest, a 36, well actually it's really 34-inch waist. I'm about 14.5 stone, actually just less than 14.5 stone. So the one that I went for, this is the European extra large, which is also the US large. And I would say it fits me perfectly. Generally with Helikon-Tex I'll go for a European extra large and find that it fits just right. So I'd always say double check your measurements against what are on the Helikon-Tex website. However, if you're usually a large here in Europe, then I'd probably just go for large and I think you'll be fine. Now as far as the colours are concerned, this is going to be available at launch at least in 5 flat colours. This is part of the bushcraft range, so it's not really going to be coming out in multicam or some of the other maybe Polish woodland, that sort of stuff. So there's green, brown, grey, black and tan as far as the colours are concerned, but I think for the bushcraft range really it kind of fits those colours. It would be interesting to see if Helikon-Tex did something like they've done with the Woodsman anorak, where they've then taken that and put it into the Tracer anorak and made it part of their patrol line instead of part of their bushcraft line. So that would be interesting to see. But I think for the way that it is now, it perfectly fits. It's kind of use case where it is right now. Now for the outer layer, to make sure that this is as rugged as it possibly can be, this uses Dura canvas on the outside. So Dura canvas is a mix of polyester, cotton with a little bit of elastin in there as well, just to make sure that there's a bit of two-way stretch in this. Now I will say, compared to some of their other extra large jackets or extra large anoraks, it does wear a little bit larger than some of the others, which I certainly don't have any issues with. Let's just zip this up while I'm talking. I certainly don't have any issues with that, mainly because this is designed to be a winter jacket that you'll be out and about. If you do want to add some more layers underneath here, at the moment I'm just simply wearing a cotton t-shirt underneath this. But if you did want to add some additional layers to this, then you could do, to help to keep you insulated. Now as far as the insulation within here, it does use exactly the same insulation that you get in the Wolfhound series, because there's a Wolfhound jacket and there's a Wolfhound hoodie. So this uses Climate Shield Apex within the inside, and I will definitely say, if you're concerned about being cold, you definitely don't need to with this. It's a man-made synthetic insulation that is, or at least they say, as far as the comfort level, you can be from kind of 16 degrees down to about -25. Now I haven't been down to -25 in a wolfhound jacket before. I think the lowest I've got is about -10. But still, then you need a good couple of layers underneath it. But in the grand scheme of things, it'll certainly do an excellent job of being able to keep you warm. The beauty of this is that just taking this off, it's just one jacket. If you need to stow this away, if I roll this up, now this isn't going to be my best roll. If you were to put this in a compression strap, compression bag, you'd probably get it a bit smaller than that, but it's about the size of a football, maybe a little bit larger than a rugby ball. But you could definitely get it smaller. I think with the opposite situation where before I'd have a smock on and then underneath the smock I'd then have an insulation layer, it now means that that's less room that it takes up in a bag. And also I suppose if you're thinking on the budget side as well, if you're spending £200 on a nice good quality smock and then maybe £150 on an insulation layer underneath that, being able to combine those certainly has its benefits. Now I appreciate it also has, some people might be like, well actually I prefer to keep them separate, but that's the beauty of choice. That's the beauty of capitalism, isn't it? If you want to go out and buy the separate ones, then that's cool. If you want to get it so that they're all within one jacket, then you know, it is what it is and it all works for us. Now going through the actual features of the jacket as I usually do, I'll start at the top. So there is a nice large hood on this. It does have, on the rear here, it does have some hook and loop, so that if you want to make this a little bit smaller. Now when it's on my head, it's great. There are pulls here on the side so you can adjust this to your face, and then there is also another bungee here on the back so that you can pull it so that it keeps it tight. So if you need it to track your head as you're moving, whatever you're doing, bushcrafting, maybe you're doing some hunting, maybe, possibly, it will track your head when you pull the bungees in. Now when you have it behind your head here, if you use that hook and loop on the back, then it just helps it to stow away and just keeps it away from your neck. But it does a very good job of keeping your head warm. Now at the moment, it's my car, when I drove here, it said it was about 12 degrees, so it's not particularly cold today. So I will definitely, if you're interested, I could do a follow-up on this maybe towards the end of the winter to tell you exactly how nice it has been whilst it's been a lot colder. But it definitely does a good job of keeping your head nice and warm. It is a full zip. Now the zip on here is a good chunky YKK zip. It comes all the way up to the top here, with a small beard protector just to make sure that my facial pubes don't get stuck in it. But it is a two-way zip, so you can open this here at the bottom. So if you're getting in and out of vehicles all day, maybe you are using this for bushcraft and you've got to a camp, you want to sit down and just undo that so that you're not just kind of, it just bunches up like you're wearing a nappy around your armpits, doesn't it? So you can undo that, and then you can just allow a little bit more air in if you wanted to, I guess, as well. As far as the air side, it'll just allow a little bit more air in if you do get hot. But more importantly, if you do need to get to stuff that's on your belt, if you've got a knife, an axe, whatever it is that you've got onto your belt, you can get to those without having to undo the whole jacket. As far as the heat management side, it's probably a good section to go into that. So there are armpits underneath the zip here, and I'm happy to say that these armpit zips also have this mesh in here. So it's definitely something that I look to in other jackets. When you're out and about and there's bugs and there's crap, that sort of stuff, you don't want them getting into here because you're a warm environment and they like to get into warm environments. So just having the mesh on the inside here will stop bugs from getting in and it'll stop dirt and debris from getting in. Plus, you can also help that to mitigate some of the heat. Now the zippers on here are two-way zips, so when you get this to you, when it comes out of the box, the zips are here kind of by your elbows. But if you want to bring them both down so that they're here, so they come down just kind of to the bottom of my ribs, where that floating rib is, they come down to there. So you can do that from either side depending on how you prefer it. Some of you, if you're walking with a backpack, you might prefer them so that they are here, so there's less of your arms swaying against something, but it's nice that the choice is there. Now coming to the front, as far as the pockets are concerned, it's almost similar to like a full pocket kind of smock setup. So you have here down at your waist, you have two shooter style pockets that come in from the side, and then inside here, so on the section that's I'm pressing against me, this has got like a like a nylon-y kind of lining on here, but then on the outside there is a fine micro fleece. So when you have your hands in here, if it is that you're cold, then you can put your hands in here. It will help to keep your hands warm. Coming up to the chest, then you then have 2 additional pockets. So you have one here if you're right-handed, and then you also have a mirrored one here on the left side, or the right side if you're left-handed. Now I am happy to say that these also have these small pockets on the inside. So I've got my car keys in here at the moment. So what I mean by that is there's that additional pocket that's in here. So rather than, let's say you're out and you want your compass in there, then you can keep your compass perfectly within that pocket. Or maybe you've got some fire starting kind of stuff, some tools maybe that you use regularly. You can keep that in that pocket to make sure that it's always where you need it to be. And also if you're climbing around through stuff, it's not sliding around within your pockets, it just stays where it is. Now as far as pockets on the outside are concerned, there are 5, so you have 2 down here at the waist, 2 down here on the chest, and then there is an additional one here on the bicep. The bicep pocket is just kind of the normal size that you get with bicep pockets on these style coats and jackets. And there is also some hook and loop here if you want to throw on some morale patches, then you can have these on as well. Now I will say this isn't an ambidextrous jacket as far as bicep pockets goes. If you're right-handed, it's great that there's one here on the left-hand side. If you're left-handed, there isn't one here on the right-hand side, but you guys are always dealt the poor, I'm not very good at poker, whatever that term is, you guys always get dealt the crappy hand, but you know, you're left-handed anyway, it is what it is. On the outside, other than that then, so coming down to the waist, you do have some bungee here, so if you want to pull this in, you can do. Hopefully you'll have seen that the length on this, it is a good length, so you can get this all the way down past your bum, so if you want to keep your bum warm, then it will do. I will say if you're wearing a rucksack with this, it does a good job of being able to, because they always tend to kind of ride up when you've got a rucksack anyway. So just that extra length of keeping it down there again just keeps your bum nice and warm, and it'll stop crap from getting down the back of your trousers as well. There are some little features on here that I guess it's nice that they've added. I don't think I'll ever use them, but here down at the waist, so here on the left hand side, you do have some PALS webbing, so you have one row with 4 columns on there. So I guess things like Moorlander knives, they always have that little plastic clip on the back of them. You can attach those to them. If you've got some gloves that maybe you've got a carabiner that you just want to stow your gloves away so you know where they are, then you can attach that to them as well. Now I showed you the one on the left hand side here, but it is exactly the same on the right hand side here as well. It's mirrored for lefties and righties. They just don't like lefties when it comes to bicep pockets. But yes, so that's everything on the outside. Now on the inside, there are 3 additional pockets. I did up that press stud, didn't I? And I forgot that I did it up. There are 3 additional pockets here on the inside. So the first one is here, just so if maybe you need to get something, maybe you want to keep your car keys. All it means then is if you want to get into this pocket, you just have to undo that ever so slightly, and then you can get into there. The 2 additional pockets are down here, so you have some poacher's pockets. Great for gloves, great for hats, especially if you've got gloves that you've just got ever so slightly damp or wet. You can put your gloves into here, and then the kind of the heat from your body will help to dry those. Or if it is that it is really cold and you've got some of those gel hand warmers, those gel hand warmers are awesome to keep in poacher's pockets like these, because it warms your groin area, which is an area that does get very susceptible to the cold. So having a warm groin is what we all want. I'm sure that's what she said in there somewhere, but I can't. I'm getting really close to trying to think of one for that one, but I can't really at the moment. And yeah, so where was I? I was talking about like warm groins, wasn't I? And that's really it on the inside. This pocket doesn't appear on this side as well, which again, I think if you're left-handed, you're probably used to it already. So you know, it is what it is. But I think what it does is it adds a quandary within it. There's a conundrum, and I've got so used to having this 3-layer system where I've had 2 jackets this now replaces those 2 jackets. But then is it useful to have 2 or is it useful to have 1? I think in the grand scheme of things it's great to have all 3, but I think it's good in the fact that randomly through a few different conversations that I've had with people in the comments section, people have been asking about other jackets and how tough they are on the outside. If it is that you're after a 1 jacket solution that will give you the warmth and security of both of those other jackets within one, I think the Yukon Winter Jacket might be the perfect jacket for you for that situation. So there you go. I hope that helped. A little bit of an introduction to this. Now if you want, I could make, oh, I forgot to mention, on the cuffs here, so you have some hook and loop. So if you do want to, I haven't tried this with gloves yet. I've only had this a couple of weeks, but if you wanted to, you could keep some gloves underneath there. Now within those, these aren't elasticated. It's a what do you call it, a rigid cuff maybe. But if you did want to make it smaller, then you could certainly make it smaller. I know if Mrs. Moorlander borrows this, she will make it smaller. Sorry, I was saying before, if you wanted to, I could make some content that would maybe say, have a look at this and then compare it to the other solution where you'd have a 2 jacket setup and the pros and cons between those. But let's hear in the comments if you'd like to see something like that, if that's possibly an idea for the future. Now, full disclosure, this was mentioned at the beginning of this, so this was sent to me from the team over at Military First, so I want to give them a huge shout out and say thank you. Usually I reach out to them and say, I've got these ideas on some content I'd love to make. Whereas this time they came to me and said, you know, we've got the Yukon jacket coming out, we think you'd like this, I think your audience would like this. So yeah, a huge thank you for keeping me in mind for that sort of stuff, and especially on behalf of my audience as well, a huge thank you as well. So of course I'll leave those links below so that you can see more from them. I'll leave some of my social media links for them below, sorry, here on Moorlander EDC and my sister channel Moorlander Tactical. And whether you're watching this on YouTube or Rumble, as always, stay safe, stay Moorlander, and stay EDC. Hi, I'm the Moorlander. My hand stuck in my pocket then for a second. Car keys. I remember they're there. I'll tell you what, let's move some stuff around. What have we got? Let's put that in there. And my car keys in here. Because this, you'll find out in a moment, there's an extra little pocket on the inside. Camera does pick up a little bit of wind. I won't know until I get home to edit it. I don't even need to add that bit. I should add that bit afterwards. Who cares? We need to get into this. Right, let's start again. I've used this for the last 3 or 4 years underneath as an insulation layer. Now, EDC today looking at the newly released Yukon Winter Jacket. Idiot. It's found inside the Wolfhound jackets. So this is it's a climber. What is it? Hope you don't mind me filming while you're here. You're alright with me? No, not at all. I'm just gonna be, yeah. Now you might be wondering where I am. I went out into my woods and it was absolutely thraping it down. I've been to 3 locations this morning trying to find somewhere that I would be a little bit dry. I booked a day off. This is Friday and I thought, oh, you know, I'll have the day off, I'll go and do some filming. And it is thraping it down. But this is the Moorlandese gods replenishing the land with the amber nectar of the gods. But yeah, so I've come to Brough Park, which is a nice little park in the Kingdom of the Moorlands to do this. A little bandstand. How nice is this? I should probably use this a little bit more, but yeah. So anyway, so there you go. Yeah. Well, that's it. I think this comes out on a Wednesday. So if it does come out on a Wednesday, I hope you're all good. I hope you're all having a good week. And yeah, I will see you soon.